I'm gonna share with you a forum post that was shared with me. Now, I don't know anything about this forum. This forum post was just shared with me. I've already looked over it. I've already talked about it with the person who shared it with me. But in any case, we're gonna go over it together now on this channel. So, we start here. It is time for the Black Race to rise and claim its. So, you can already see the presupposition here. I'm gonna cover this later. So, in any case, history has been sort of simply done. Not. Okay, so white, blonde hair, blue eyed Jesus. So I disagree with this. I believe that Jesus was probably like everybody else. Modern day Arab, kind of, long hair, light brown. Man, the first image, white skin, blonde hair. Yeah, okay, we don't think he's blue. Okay, so here are verses that indicate the actual physical characteristics of Jesus. So first we have Revelation. His feet were uh, burnished bronze, refined with his voice roared with waters, start with unflammable bronze. So assume your reader's retarded, right? But in any case, bronze, darker brown. So, well, that's interesting. This is interesting. No, when was this form written? July 20. The only time I've ever seen this word used is in White Supremacist Manifesto. That's very interesting, because I assume the OP is black. In any case, as far as revelations go, and I think this is going to go for another passage that he's going to post, metaphors, metallic metaphors, like his, chest was like gold, his, like silver, bronze. I don't think these are in any way characteristics of the physical person. I think these are spiritual, metaphorical characteristics. Because in Revelation, the same exact book he's referring to here, I mean, we see angels, demons, and whatnot. They're referred to having things, body parts that are similar to, for example, I know that some of them have been described as, being like gold. Does that mean the race of whatever thing is describing is yellow? Like Asian? I don't think it's a race characterization. Next, and midst the lamps and the living man clothes around the hairs like wool. Of all races, only the black man's hair resembles wool. So this is wrong because I'm not black. At least I don't think maybe the ancestry from my dad's side. But I mean, if you look at this is not, this is not black people hair. Okay, this is Latino Brazilian hair. If I grew my hair out and didn't wash it, and I didn't comb it, didn't do anything to it, didn't detangle it or anything like that, it would resemble wool. It would end up turning into this big, it would be just like wool. And this goes for Arabs, this goes for a lot of, I think even white people. If they grow their hair out, I mean, you've seen a lot of homeless people in your life, right? The typical white homeless person archetype, long hair, it's kind of dreading a little bit, it's dirty. That resembles wool, doesn't it? So no. So the first two are out of it. Long, the hair, the hair is long from the baby. Yeah, unless you don't wash it and don't comb it. Okay, yeah, we're not arguing that he's blonde hair. Okay, for he grew up with a young plant like a root from the dry ground, had no form of fantasy, we should look at him and know beauty that we should desire him. So, this is insinuating that if you're black, you're ugly. Which is interesting. I mean, that's the only way this verse would make sense. But if you know Isaiah 53, you know this is connected to the suffering servant prophecy that would be the prophecy of Jesus. And yeah, he had no form of majesty that we should look at him and no beauty that we should desire him. Jesus, if you recall, was just another guy, within quotations. Remember, he was just a carpenter for a very long time. He didn't look divine in the literal sense. If he looked divine, he wouldn't have been crucified, would he have? Daniel, okay. Daniel's my favorite Bible character. His face is pretty like this. Bronze. Bronze. So I checked. Even like okay, so Again, bronze. Same thing as all other metallic metaphors. I don't think these are assessments of someone's race. The scepter shall not depart from the staff, and shall be the people blind is holy, blind is cold, and watch dark as wine. His eyes are dark with the wine to Bible or scepter. Okay, yeah, again. I don't agree with blue-eyed Jesus. That doesn't make sense. Okay, got it. Hair textures, head like pure wool, his thorns. Okay, again, wool, we already talked about that. 1 Corinthians 11:14. Straight from natural and common to be Hebrews. So the way he uses the verses doesn't even make sense. I paused to read it to make sure I'm not strawmanning, but this makes literally no sense. Here's a verse opposing the wearing long hair is traits unnatural, which indicates that one must have been unnatural or common age in Hebrews. So if you read the Bible in full, you realize that other parts say to grow your hair out as some form of, I think it was a sacrifice or showing of discipline to God. I think that's what it was. But it must have been on to nature in Hebrews. I mean, if you know secular history, you know around this time period, the average look, especially when Jesus was living, was longer hair for males. To make the hair long by artificial means whatsoever rebuke the natural going its very nature of their hair being woolly, etc. So I don't see how this has anything to do with Jesus being black. What I've highlighted here makes literally no sense. I'm trying to understand what he's trying the point, but I know that fools for points. Okay, sure. Okay. I'm just seeing very blue and gray and woolly. So this doesn't really hold any water. Okay, so a coin that had Jesus on it had resembled black features 500 years after he lived. All right, bro. Like that matters. So I'm gonna attack the claim that Jesus was black. Not necessarily because I agree with the part where he says, "Well, Jesus wasn't blonde hair, blue eyed." I think that's unlikely. As I said before, the most likely scenario is that Jesus looked like everybody else, lighter brown, longer hair, woolly textured hair. That's To me, that's the most likely scenario. Now, is it possible he was black? Technically, sure. Now, is it possible he was white? Technically. Okay. I would say him being black and him being white are about as equal odds. I think the overwhelming majority of the percentage odds go to him being light brown with long hair, much like all other Arabs at the time. We can rule out races like Asian. I mean, I don't see how Jesus could be Asian or some other race like that. I don't see how it could be Latino either. But I'm going to go back to the starting point. It's time for the black race to raise and claim what is theirs. So there's a presupposition here that, well, I'm black. Obviously not me, but I'm figuratively. But anyways, so pretend I'm black, right? I want to cling onto a biblical figure, which I think this mindset's wrong in the first place. I don't think you need to. Someone doesn't have to look like you. Someone doesn't have to be the same race as you in order to relate to them, right? Everyone's a human at the end of the day. But even if you do go in with this mindset, if you really want someone to cling on to, why not Simon of Cyrene? Simon of Cyrene was most likely black, or very dark brown at the very least, as he was from Africa. That's where Cyrene is. So, if you're a black person and you really want to cling on to someone, pick Simon of Cyrene, because Jesus probably wasn't black, and he probably, for all the, just as against the blonde hair, white, blue-eyed representation, I don't think that's true either. Jesus probably looked like everybody else from his time period.